Well, hello there, Vlad here. Welcome to my studio. Today we're talking about why you should own multiple guitars. And I want to insert a disclaimer right away. I'm not saying that you're in any way a lesser guitar player if you just have one guitar or you can achieve everything you want with one guitar. I'm just saying that it's probably a good idea to own few because it allows you to do multiple things you cannot do with just one guitar. And let's get started with the first one. The number one reason why you should own more than one guitar is the fact that if you ever play live, you have a backup. The fact is that sometimes when you're playing live, something can go wrong. You can break a string, something can get messed up with your electronics, anything like that. And if you are playing with just one guitar, especially if your electronics go bad, you're in trouble. There's nothing you can do about it. And even in case of string breakage, you still probably won't have time to swap the string during the set. That would be really weird. And if you have a backup, just grab that one, plug it in, and keep on rocking or jazzing or whatever you're doing. Owning multiple guitars also means that if you ever need to take your guitar to service or anything like that, you need to, like fret job, you need to have nut replaced or anything like that. You still have other guitars that you can use and keep playing, because sometimes it might take several days before you get your guitar back. So when you own multiple guitars, you always have a backup no matter what happens. Number two reason, and this is obvious, they are pretty. It's kind of egoistic to say that this guitar is pretty because I built it myself, but I think it looks really great. I like guitar shaped objects, they look cool. There's a reason why people collect them and put them on their walls and stuff. They're just really cool to look at. Simple as that, really. The third reason is that you'll be able to play with others. If you have, for example, friends coming over, just grab a guitar or two and start jamming. And this was super apparent like at 42 Gear Street last month, where there was a bunch of Ortega, like mini basses, ukuleles, all kinds of acoustic guitars available, and people would just grab them and start jamming together. And that's really cool. If you own only one guitar, you will not be able to do that. So yeah, owning multiple guitars allows you to do that as well. The fourth reason is that it allows you to play with different tunings and different setups as well. Tunings wise, you will not be able to have a guitar that's, let's say, this is in standard E, and taking this down to, let's say, standard C, for example, would require different kinds of strings, different setup, different everything, and going back and forth is a lot of work if you ever want to experiment with different kind of tunings. For example, the Ibanez has a floating bridge, so dropping that even to drop D is a slight issue. You need to retune all of the other strings as well. And yeah, basically, if you ever want to experiment with several tunings and want to adjust your guitar every time, owning multiple guitars is a great solution for that. And also it allows you to have guitars differently set up. For example, if I wanted to start learning slide guitar, I have this Harley Benton T-style thing, which isn't like an amazing guitar per se. It plays just fine, it sounds pretty good, but having this guitar allows me to raise the strings way higher than I would have them otherwise if I would play normally. And this will help me a lot while learning the slide guitar, because if the strings are at kind of normal height for regular guitar playing, it's not really suitable for slide guitar, or at least it makes it more difficult. So owning multiple guitars allows you to set up them differently for different purposes. Number 5, different guitars inspire you to play different things. Going between an electric and acoustic is kind of obvious, but still, like even within electrics, an Ibanez, AZ, a Tele, a 335 semi-hollow thing, they sound very different and they kind of inspire you to write different music. And like you usually get guitars where you kind of put them in a certain kind of box of this does this. For example, you would get, I don't know, let's say a really cool like LTD single cut with EMGs and everything. You're probably not going to play jazz with that. You're buying it to play like proper metal stuff. And you get the guitar, for example, because it reminds you of your like guitar heroes in that genre. And you get a Tele, for example, because you love Springsteen or country stuff, or you've seen a bunch of people play it in like a worship scene, for example. Whether you actually like realize it or not, people tend to buy instruments and kind of having a thing in their head where, okay, I want to do that with that instrument. And yeah, different instruments inspire you to play different things. Obviously, you can, for example, try to play metal with a Tele and you might be fairly successful in that. I think it's totally okay to break the rules, but some of the kind of set rules are there because they make a lot of sense. For metal, you want a certain guitar with certain aesthetic and certain features. For country, you want a different guitar with different aesthetics and different features. Those are kind of the general rules, and they're general rules because most people find them that way. So yeah, owning multiple guitars makes you play different things. Number 6 might also be kind of obvious, but different guitars sound different, and some of the sounds can be only achieved with the certain types of guitars. For example, if you want to have a guitar that sounds like a Tele, you probably should get a Tele instead of anything else. Or if you want to have like a jazz box, like a really kind of round and thick sound, you probably need to get a semi-hollow guitar or a hollow body guitar, because you won't be able to get those sounds from this, for example. Having different sounding instruments is also great depending on, like, for example, in what kind of band you play, and also while recording as well, because for example, let's say I'm tracking a rock track and I want to have this wide, big, let's say Foo Fighters type of rock sound, and I want it to sound just huge. And yes, I could take my 335, for example, and track with that, but if I only track with that, the sound won't be as big as if I, for example, double track both of those takes with my Tele. And because these two guitars have very different frequency ranges, they kind of stack up nicely together and create a much wider sound together than they would if had I just used one instrument to track everything. And the same kind of thinking actually applies to band situation as well, depending on, well, what style of band you have, but also what instruments you have in that band. You might want to choose a thicker sounding or thinner sounding instrument depending on how much kind of frequency space you have in that band. So that's also something to think about. And number 7 is the fact that different instruments make you play differently. Not necessarily like drastically differently, but once you get to know your instruments, you'll notice that you lean towards certain things playing wise as well on those instruments. For example, the Tele here is the only kind of proper single coil guitar I own, and I do like double stops and things on this that sound really cool. I'm not as a big fan of those double stops, for example, or anything like that on the Black 335 Fish thing or on the Ibanez AZ either. And on those two guitars, I again play differently. The 335-ish double cut thing is kind of thicker, rounder sound, and the Ibanez AZ is a super smooth kind of lead thing. And I'm noticing I kind of play faster, if you will, on that as well, because it's just so smooth with the stainless steel frets and the neck shape and everything. The clip you saw in the beginning of the video where I played 3 different guitars was just that, me playing through the Rev Dynamics over there. I didn't touch any of the settings, I just played all of the 3 guitars through exactly the same setup. And I'm noticing, well, obvious sound differences, but also how I approach it. On the Ibanez, for example, I lean to the sustain of the guitar and I like to hold the notes and focus on the vibrato quite a lot. On this one, I feel like I lean towards the softer touch. There's kind of more dynamics on this guitar than on that one. And on the 335, I just enjoy the kind of round notes and a thicker sound. And I just feel that they inspire me to play differently. And that's a really, really cool thing. It allows me to have multiple tools for different situations. So there you have it, 7 reasons why you should own multiple guitars. And please don't feel bad if you only can afford one. I completely understand. That was me for the first 10 years I played guitar. And I've built up my guitar arsenal over the years. Actually, physically by building these as well. Well, 2 of these, there's a 3rd one in the making as well. As I mentioned, owning only one guitar is completely fine. But if you ever get a chance, get another one and then another one and like build your collection over time. I used to be one of those people who thought owning just one guitar, like as versatile as possible guitar, would be the solution. But I noticed that I just kept trading and looking for the one and never found it. And now I'm moving towards owning several good guitars instead. And so far I've been doing pretty well. So those were my 7 reasons. If you feel there's something I forgot, leave a comment down below and let me know what I missed. And if you completely disagree with me, that's completely fine as well. Leave a comment down below and let me know why you disagree, and let's have a polite but fun discussion arguing why you should have many or just one guitar. I'm actually interested to hear what you guys think. Links below in the description to my Bandcamp and Teespring store if you want to support what I do. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell as well. And thanks for watching. I shall see you next time.